Hi, you are watching SightsIn and this is Bhuvanesh Srivastava. Please do subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates and conversation with the top CHROs, leaders and business sites. Today we are trying to analyze Accenture's second quarter result for financial year 2024. This is the fact ending result because Accenture follows September to August financial year. If I try to pick three major points from this second quarter result, so first is that Accenture reported a revenue of $15.8 billion. That is That remained flat if you look at the year-on-year basis. Second important point is that company has reported drop in its headcount by the 753 employees. And the third important point is that company has reported rise in attrition, 2% rise in attrition. So that is to 13% for this quarter. We will try to dive deep. These are the 3 points. And today we have a senior HR professionals as expert is Mr. Milind Mutalik. Milind is the former Chief People Officer with Accolite Digital. Welcome, Milind.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. And I'm sure a very interesting topic which you have picked up this time, though very nicely thought through that it's Accenture, but it has got a reflection on the Indian market, as they say, because finally it's one of the topmost technology organization globally.
I shared with you a couple of pointers, the main highlights of the result
Yeah.
as a job professional. So, how do you analyze these results?
Yes, you talked about the numbers. There's a flat quarter which is ended in the month of February. And if you look at even the forecast which has been given by Accenture, it shows their growth from 2 to 5% will come to 1 to 3%. Now, this itself shows the organization, uh, as a Accenture, are doing 64 billion US dollar every year. Like 2023 number is 64 billion. So for them, that 1% or 3% also is a big number in terms of the size. And when I look at little bit deeper into the revenue, okay, consulting revenue actually for them has decreased by 3%. And what we find is management or say managed services revenue is increased by 3%. So there's a change which you see typically is more into managed services as compared to the consulting which they were getting. Okay. Also, there is a breakup which I was looking at as which are the so-called their geographies which has grown. US has remains flat. EMEA has reduced by about 2%. I won't go into numbers, but I'll just say the percentage. And the growth markets, which includes typically the countries which are APAC and others, have actually grown by 6%. So this is giving a reflection of where the growth is coming from. The growth markets are actually driving the growth. Also, the increase is found typically into healthcare and public services in their revenue. Whereas there is a decrease in communication, there is a decrease in financial services. Communication decreases higher by 7%. Financial services is somewhere in the range of 6%. Okay. And public services and health has increased by 10%. Now, this itself shows there's a mixed bag of the things which are happening. Okay. So that's my perspective saying that there is a change within the way the revenue is growing for Accenture, or being even the constitution of it is changing. That's the first point. The second point which I see is business outlook, more from the point of view of reduction of projections. And the reason which they have given, when I was reading through the report, it has been said that long term spending may not get impacted, but with the so-called macro uncertainties, which are unpredictable circumstances which would come in the economic front or the overall, world front on be it infrastructure supply chain, the spending in near term has been really postponed by many of the players. Okay, so one is postponed, though long term it would come back into the action. But in a short term time, this is a stretch which everybody is feeling. Also, earlier there used to be, last quarter in India, October to December, or for that matter, even first quarter, used to have good amount of a discretionary spending which used to come up. But that's something which is missing even as per the Accenture report. Okay, I think this broadly sums up how it is going to affect the India companies. that we also are not getting the outlook, which will be really very, very bright, maybe in the first quarter and the last quarter of India, that is January to March, and the first quarter would be little slow, April to March. Okay, so that would be kind of broad points which I would like to summarize onto the financial aspect and the way the outlook, which is broadly we can look at.
Right. In very detail, you have described the Accenture's result. That is, I really appreciate this. Milind, another important point is, as a job professional, we'll be also, more concerned about the manpower. We'll be more concerned about the number of employees. So we have seen drop in number of headcounts. So that is dropped by 783 employees. How do you see this drop?
One of the reason is even Accenture has done some layoffs, number one, and they have provided annual report again shows some 440 million or something. Overall, they have provided for this expense of layoffs. Okay, and everywhere one thing is clear that there is a demand for the new technology. However, there is so-called redundant technologies or so-called not very experienced people have become overheads for the organization. And if you're falling into that area, slowly but surely, many a times, if you're getting some tools which are really advanced tools, okay, you're getting some of the people outdated. And that is something which is actually reflecting in many of the IT organizations where the mundane jobs or redundancy is coming into the picture for reduction. On one hand, there's a demand utilization pressure. If you look at, I was going into little details, but Accenture utilization is shown as 92%, which is one of the highest according to me, which I have seen in their reports. They're showing somewhere the utilization is 92%. We have seen generally the Indian organizations are anywhere between 83, 85. Best of it as could be 87%. But and one of the reason last quarter of Infosys was given as they were having a excess capacity and they were wanting to bridge the utilization gap. They had a bigger bench. So all these companies have developed a bench and they are trying to reduce the bench, and that being a reason you're finding the number of employees leaving, number one, and number two, in the fear of being laid off also, or the impact of layoff also, some of the people who are having a demand in the market, they are moving from one organization to another, more from the point of view of either a big buck, which could be a mid-level startup or product company, or for the better safer jobs.
If we talk about the third quarter results of IT companies in India, especially TCS, SCL Tech, Infosys, so we have seen also the drop in headcounts, but we have also seen the drop in attrition. But here in Accenture's case, we have seen the drop in headcount and also rise in attrition part.
Attrition.
Second point is attrition. How do you see the hiring is getting started right now in companies? So this is the attrition indicate. What is this? What this attrition rise in attrition is indicating?
Now, attrition, what is coming up typically is yes, there is a bit of a mm, hiring which is in demand of the next quarter. So, as a whole, a lot of predictions say that there's going to be 8 to 10% of increase in manpower for the Indian IT sector, IT services sector. And out of that, the first quarter will pull in somewhere in the range of 3 to 5% hiring. Now, why is this happening? And I was looking at some of the articles where it says that orders or other the so-called large contracts worth 16 billion in a global market are coming for the renewal in next 6 months time. Okay. Now, this itself shows that in the anticipation of the new work or for bidding the new work, or even I would say, either renewal or, kind of acquiring the contract from the competition, everybody is running on that path currently. And that being a reason, the hiring would happen for the resources which are either very good in pre-bid or very high in technology where they are able to, help like, the so-called architects, solution architects, or such kind of people who would able to give the answers to the pre-bid and what are the new demands which are coming into the market for the large deals. So this is something which is a traction which has been seen. However, this hiring is happening in majorly technologies which are in terms of AI, data, cyber security, and I would say the new techs, machine learning and others. So that's the traction which we are able to see into the hiring.
Recently, we have also seen, like Capgemini, they have announced that they will have the good number of people in financial year 2025. TCS has also started somehow this freshers hiring. And Accenture, we have seen a lot of positions on Accenture's, on career page. So these numbers are in thousands, and these numbers are only for the India. So how do you see the hiring from this April onwards, you can say, for the financial 2025 in India?
See, India, as we last time made a mention broadly as per the NASSCOM report, we have about 5.8 million, okay, 58 lakhs employees. Even if we say we want to add 10% onto it, we come to about 6-7 lakhs hiring in a year. Okay. Now, if I split earlier, out of this 6 to 7 lakhs, about 10 to 20% used to come, or could be even 25% used to come from campuses. Okay. Today, if I try to quantify broadly, this about whatever 7-8 lakhs, 10% of it probably or 15% of it would come from campus. Okay. One of the area where we have, do we count them into this 5.8 million? We need to check is GCCs. And hiring in GCC is something which is focused majorly even by the campuses. Okay. So I think this year, if we IT services organization, we expect 70-80,000 as per some of the forecast, but for GCC it could be further 50-60,000, so it would take account to 1.5 lakhs. Okay. Whereas if you look at, as the the number says in a lot of publication says, we have 1.5 million engineers coming out every year, that is 15 lakhs. And as I seen in the record, 2022 had 6 lakh being hired, 23 reducing it to 2 or 2.5 lakhs, and 24 it may go down to 70-80,000 for IT services. Maybe other demand will come from GCC and it could take a number for more than 1 lakh. Okay, but as we see, the demand is more for the experienced people as compared to the freshers. That's what is 24 story looks like.
Right. So I think the hiring ramp ups in India now, and that's a good news for the IT professional. That is also for the campus, and that is also for the lateral hire. The more, you rightly said, more positions are more hiring is for the lateral jobs as of now, and I think this is the good news that hiring started in this segment IT, which was freezed in most of the companies. So thank you so much, Mr. Milind, for joining the conversation and sharing your wonderful thoughts on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.